Got my mermaid cup, got my mermaid hair, probably got my mermaid attitude. You know, I wrote an article called Thronitude a few days back, and it was all on having an attitude of royalty, having an attitude of worthiness, having an attitude of self-leadership, of responsibility. You know, giving yourself permission to have what you want, what you desire. And yesterday my whole talk was, you know, on giving yourself permission to say fuck it sometimes, and giving yourself permission to have what you want. Well, here we are. I think that this message needs to just keep being driven home, because what I see and what I'm hearing, you know, across the social media lines out there is fear, and more fear. And hey there, good morning. So fear, more fear, and just so much of it. When you really truly think about it, what is fear doing? Fear steals our worthiness. Fear causes guilt. Fear causes shame. Fear constricts us. Fear shuts us down. Fear truly is poison. And we are being fed fear left and right. We have been being fed fear, you know, forever. This is how the mass population is controlled across the world, is through fear. And it has been that way forever. But right now we've got fear coming at us from every single way. And my beautiful light workers and awakened people out there, you know, you're not going to like me after this statement, but I want you to really truly consider this statement, okay? And for all my Christian peeps and everything who's, you know, going, God is going to save us, Jesus is going to save us, all that kind of stuff, again, here you go. I want you to really truly listen to today's message, because the media is feeding us a bunch of scary shit, and our governments are feeding us a bunch of scary stuff, and there is definitely a dehumanization going on across grand scale across the planet, you know, and everybody has their own viewpoints on it, and I'm not going to make this a political thing. This is an energetic thing, okay? So let's take all of that out of the picture. Let's look at that and just go, okay, everything there, it is fear. We've been told to fear this, you know, a fear for our health, fear our neighbors, fear our friends, fear our family, fear going out in the sunshine, fear going to the beach, fear going to the parks, fear going shopping, fear, to, you know, really gather up and not allow. So we're being constricted in that way, right? Now, psychologically speaking, what this is doing, this constriction, is it's causing a lot of emotional breakdown and mental issues, okay? Our mental health across the world society, it's not good. And the emotional state of people, I mean, we wonder why there's so much hatred, so much anger that's going on right now. And well, you can't constrict and put this much fear and separation and segregation into things and really causing that constriction of the individual, thus in a macro version of it, all these people across the world being constricted, and not expect that the human soul isn't going to want to fight out of it, okay? So we are born to be free. We are born to be going and doing. Living is not sitting in your four walls fearing life, okay? That's just not what living is. That's not even, I guess that can be existing. It's getting by as if you're going to survive life somehow. Okay, I don't know. You know, life is an experience. It is about going, doing, and living the moment. But here's where all my Christian peeps and all my metaphysical light worker peeps, woke and chosen, right? Whatever the heck term you're using for yourself out there. I see a lot of beautiful stuff, and I'm guilty of it myself, because, you know, I get caught in that rabbit hole. I'm human, right? I get caught in that rabbit hole. But as I sit with it, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right to go and shed even more fear. Not saying shut up by any means. I'm saying put it out there, but watch your energy that you're doing it with, okay? Watch the energy as you are sharing the content that you're coming into about things that are going on in your neck of the woods, in the world, with the governments, with, you know, vaccines, with globalization, all this different stuff that's going on. And I see a lot of people really posting a lot of beautiful posts out there to bring awareness about. and preaching, faith and belief and energy, and to, focus on the positive, and to be standing in love, and to be standing in, kindness, and to be standing in compassion and empathy for our fellow neighbors and for our family and for ourselves. But then actually sitting in fear of losing it all, fear of losing freedom, fear of losing rights. And is that right there in our faces in so many different places right now? Fuck yeah, it is, right? It is. I mean, like, there's a lot of people that want to ignore that, but it's there. Now, we can be aware and conscious without constraint. And here's how you're going to know if you are in constraint and based in fear, which is going to attract and actually send energy toward what we don't want to have happen, okay? And that's what the point of this whole conversation today is that what if it could be so, right? Well, we're making it so by putting stuff out to awaken, but holding fear inside of us. So we can speak the words and not hold the fear. Okay, we can speak the words and come from love. And how we know that if we're coming from love or from fear is what happens in our physical bodies, where we're at emotionally. Okay, so if it feels good, and this is where you got to get really real and authentic with yourself. If it feels good, like this ignites me, this makes me feel good, I know that I am spreading goodness right now. I'm coming at this from a place of love right now, not a place of fear, not a place of control, not a place of, needing to change anything, right? But just a place of love. It's going to feel soft and good in your body. It's going to make your heart ignite. It's going to make you light up. You're not going to get drained from it. You're not going to be fatigued from it. You're not going to be running around all day long, racking your mind and just really clenched at your core about it. Now, if you're spreading a strong message, a potent message, no matter what side of the fence you're on any topic, no matter what it is, if you're spreading the message and you're coming from a place of fear, then you're going to feel resistance. You're going to feel that you can't tolerate anybody else's answers. You're going to feel that they must listen to you. You're going to question, why aren't they hearing me? You're going to feel yourself shutting down. You're going to get angry. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be sad. You're going to look out into the world, and even though you count yourself a light worker, a person of faith, a believer of Jesus, of God, of whatever the frick religion you want to say, right? You do all of this stuff. If you're looking at the world, at life, at this moment from this state of shock, fear, like you're driving right into, the head on into another car and you're just locked up at the wheel, now you're reactive, okay? You're acting from a place of fear. You're acting as though if I don't have this change happen, I can't be happy in the moment. And if we really truly want to make change in this world, I mean, over and over again, if we look through the course of time, and I do love to use Jesus because everybody goes, oh, Jesus was peaceful. Jesus was that bullshit. Jesus was not peaceful. He turned over tables. He slammed his fists. He got mad. He raised his voice, and he needed to get away from people too and go and meditate on the mountain. Okay. And that right there shows us that that's human energy. That's human emotion. But what Jesus also did, so the scriptures say, is that he came at it from a level place. So inside himself, this is what that means, is that inside himself he was centered. Inside himself he knew that love was his primary focus. He knew his power. He knew his worthiness. And you can say, well, that was Jesus, right? I'm not Jesus. Well, no. But we are all created in the image of God, which means that energy, that love-based energy is pouring through us. That life consciousness is pouring through us. Source energy is within each and every one of us, making us worthy, bringing us from that state of love. There's been tons and tons of science done around emotion, thought, and the impact that it has on the physical body. And I can't remember the doctor's name. If somebody knows it, please post a link or whatever, or make the comment as you're listening to this. There was a doctor, I believe in Japan or maybe it was China, I think it was Japan, I can't remember his name, but he did a whole study on emotion, and he had people hold onto water and to feel emotion and to think thoughts based in that emotion. And while they're holding onto water, and while they're holding onto this glass of water, the emotion actually caused a molecular structures to change. And when they froze the water, the people who were focused on love, on kindness, on compassion, on peace, the molecular structure of the water actually created beautiful flowers and snowflakes. The people who were focused on anger and depression, rage, those kinds of things, the molecular structure of their water when it was frozen was all broken and shattered, distorted. Okay? So, if our thoughts and our emotions can impact a glass of water like that, what is it doing to our physical bodies? And there's been tons of research done on the energy of the heart and how much this frequency actually expands out versus the frequency of our mind, and how it expands out when we are close to other people and we are in a state of fear, that we have this anxiety inside of us, and we can bring a happy room down, or we can bring a sad or angry person up. We can level them out. We can bring joy in. I do it every single day with my clients. Okay, I sit there and I make sure that I'm sitting in a state of peace, that I'm focused in on love, that I'm not letting my daily garbage, my life drama interfere in that moment that I'm sitting with somebody. I'm focused in on my heart. I'm focused in on presence. I'm focused in on really controlling my breath and focusing in on good thoughts and good feelings, so that whatever they're going through, they start to decrease and they start to feel themselves at a different level, at a more peaceful state. So let's take that. That's the micro version of it, right? Let's take that to the macro version. What are we doing right now? We're all going, shh, right? And where are we going with it? We are completely caught in fear and suffering and drama and more fear and controlling our neighbors and being controlled, and the fear of not enough control and the fear of too much control. And it's fear, 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 and more fear. And that is causing this disruption, this distortion in us, in our households, in our community, in our world. And truly the answer is that if each and every one of us just took responsibility for ourselves and said, all right, so what if it was so? What if that was so? What if all this fear that I'm seeing is nothing more than a viewing of the fear that I'm feeling inside? What if I started to focus in on me? What if I started to focus in on finding love right here, and in expressing more love and coming at every situation from that place of love? What if? And what if it could just be? What if it could just be from that state? I can tell you that, I'm focused on love. I'm focused on peace right now, for sure. But a lot of the work that I do is abundance coaching. So law of attraction coaching for people, helping people, go from nothing to making 6-7 figures, right? And to finding their soulmate, to, having the body of their dreams, to rekindling beautiful relationships. Law of attraction really does work. We live in an attraction-based universe. And what we don't realize is that when we are fighting a fight, we are actually in the energy of what we don't want. We are not in the energy of what we do want. And as long as we're battling it, it's not about not vocalizing it, but it's the energy that we are bringing to the table, okay, in that fight. So I want you to ask yourself today, no matter what, if you are wanting more money, but you're focused on how little you have, if you're pointing fingers and like, why does that person get to do that? And why does that person get to do that? I'm better than that. I'm over here. I've done all this hard work, but it's not showing up. It's not showing up. Then realize that when you're saying it's not showing up, that's why it's not showing up, because you're focused on it, because you're constricted. If you're focused on fear and control and worry out there, you're fearing your neighbor because they're not wearing a mask. You're fearing their neighbor because they are wearing a mask. You're fearing your neighbor because they're a different race, whatever it might be. Look at the topics on the table, right? If that's where you're at, then what you have to realize is that the reason why you're experiencing this constriction and this shutdown and looking at all this fear in the world is because because inside you're probably fearing your power. You're probably fearing your worthiness. You're probably fearing something about yourself. You're constricted. You're not in alignment. You're needing to control the outside world because you're not in alignment to your inside world. So it always comes back to self. It always comes back to where's your scarcity mentality at? Because that's what we have, right? And if you're sitting in scarcity mentality on any subject area of your life, then what you're going to experience is not having what your dreams and desires are. You're not going to have the lifestyle that you want. You're not going to have the people that you want. You're not going to have the health that you want. You're not going to get the results that you want in other parts of your world. And from personal experience, I can tell you that you can flip the switch within a day, okay? Less than a day if you're really, really focused and if you've been doing some work. But I know for a fact that, if you give yourself 3 days to get it done and just go, I'm going to shift my shit over the next 3 days. I'm going to change this way of being, that you can move yourself from the scariest of places and 3 days later have magic and miracles happening in your world. I've done it numerous times. I've been down in those trenches. I've experienced that stuff before, and just yesterday, what was it? A couple years ago when I had a really vicious breakup with my ex, that became violent, we were having a great morning and 90 minutes later it became a violent situation, cops involved and hospitals, right? And I was on the receiving end of the medical side there. So it wasn't good. And I was completely taken aside from it, and I found myself homeless and shocked and terrified and broken and, with my kids and just going, what the fuck am I going to do? And quite literally 3 days later, the house that I have today, it just dropped in my lap. And, the car that I have today just dropped in my lap. And as I was just stating to my daughter just last night, she was over and she said something, and she was complaining about that moment because she opted, school was almost out, and she's like, no, I'm going to take the last weekend, I'm going to couch hop at my friends' couches, because she knew that I had to go and stay at a friend's house and I wasn't going to have room for everybody. So she's like, I'm just going to couch hop, mom, teenager. So she hung out with 2 different friends, and she's like, yeah, well, I had to couch hop for 3 days. And I looked at her, I said, yeah, and I had to pull $20,000 out my ass in 3 days when I wasn't expecting to, and I didn't have it accessible right then in that moment. But you know what? It all magically just went like that. Within 3 days, I manifested $20K and a house and a car, right? And I should have had surgery, but I've manifested not having surgery. I've manifested strengthening my body again and having all this stuff going on. I've manifested all this stuff, and it's because of the understanding of the power of focusing on what you do want, focusing on the evidence of what you do want, focusing on the pre-evidence, which is getting caught in the feeling and the emotion of it before it actually manifests. Okay? And what we right now are really caught in is manifesting hell. We're caught in manifesting hell on both sides. Both sides of the spectrum on all these world topics are focused on hell. And we're going to have hell rise up on our asses if we're not careful, as long as we continue to focus in on it. So light workers, Christians, believers out there in the law of attraction, please, take this moment, because I do believe that one person focused on goodness, one person focused on love is so much stronger than 100 focused on fear and worry. Love is potent, and we are potent, powerful people. It's where we choose to set our intentions. It's where we choose to set our hearts at, and where we want to truly live. What's the world that we want to create from all of this that's going on? Are we enjoying what we have going on? Is this what we want? If it's not what we want, then let's focus in on loving our neighbors instead of hating our neighbors. If this isn't what we want, let's focus in on doing what is humanly right and being conscientious custodians of our world and to our fellow human beings, not desiring to control. Hey, April. Hey, James. So I really, truly do encourage you to look at check yourself as to where your intentions are. Check yourself as to where your energy is moving. Are you focused on fear or are you focused on love? Are you focused on scarcity? Are you focused on what you don't want to have happen while you are spewing all the beautiful words of this is what I want to have happen? I'm a believer. I have faith. I believe in the law of attraction. I believe that this is going to happen. I believe Savior's going to, whatever, like everybody's preaching it, right? And everybody's trying to make everybody aware of their side. But what's that current that's underneath it all? And right now, fear has the world by the balls. It really, truly does. And with all the best intent that so many of us have out there, and I believe that the majority of people have the best intent, even if we may not agree on those, we do want a safe world. We do want a happy world. We do want a healthy world. We want our loved ones to be safe and healthy. We want ourselves to be safe and healthy. We want abundance, right? We want community. We want connection. We do want love. We don't want to be under the thumb. Anybody in this world does not want to be under the thumb of somebody else. But we will remain under a thumb and living in fear and scarcity of our neighbors and of our beautiful world, as long as that's the energy that we're putting out. So speak your words of awakening. Speak your words that you desire to get out there, no matter what side you're on, no matter what your views are. But ask yourself, check yourself. Am I doing this from a place of love and feel good, that this truly feels good? Am I truly spreading goodness? Or am I spreading fear? Am I spreading shame? Am I spreading guilt? Am I spreading something that causes a constriction in my body and is not in alignment to my soul? Because if you feel constriction when you post something, if you feel constriction when you speak something, if you feel shame rise up, or if you think this person should be, then I can tell you that you are not in soul alignment. You are not coming from a place of joy, happiness, or love. And what you are living by is fear. So imagine if it was, and imagine if it could be. Because what you imagine and what you feel is what you're creating. All right, on that note, I'm not making any announcements today. I am just making the announcement of go love thy neighbor, right, as thyself. Do unto others as you would have done to you. Let's live by that one a little bit more. Let's look out there a little bit more on that. And check your scarcity. And here comes my trash. I'm done just in time. I love you guys. Be safe. Be in love. Remember that you are worthy of a beautiful, thriving life, an abundant life of everything that you desire: wellness, riches, love, connection, community, and your freedom. And as always, stop existing, start living, and I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee.